Okay, I have two poems. One is on my phone and one is right here. And, okay. This first one is called A Shadowy Resemblance of a Person, by me. I never thought the idea, the memory, the nightmare of you would ever scratch back into my mind. But here I am, remembering all of you and my childhood fears. We burned every remnants of you and anything related to you, everything. Even the sweater puffs stuck to my sleeves. Not a drop of alcohol remains in this house because you spilled, you stained, you burned your sick intentions on these plaster walls. Stuck your grimy hands too far into our lives, and you were enslaved in the twist of your tongue in gin bottles. The glimmer of the glass in your hand, and it washed your personality like the intoxication slid down your throat. Somber was not a word in your dictionary. It never seemed to cross your mind, if you even had a mind left, that is. The smell of acid on your skin became the only reoccurring features of you, and you swung your God-forsaken hands like your mood. But my mother was a believer. She was a dreamer, a lover, a person whose heart controlled her body, each word, each movement, each time she felt sorry for you. She was a believer to the point she couldn't even find her own thoughts, her own mind, her own way out of the horror she induced in herself by bringing herself not to let you go. The taste of tears poured into bottles, labeled and mass-produced, obviously wasn't enough for you. You, the one who caused ricochets against my door at night. You, the person, the beast, the thing that caused my mother's back pains from your foot lodged into her. But that's not to say you were always like this, like the thing you truly are now. You've become a thing. Not a name, not a face, not the slightest idea of sorrow or forgiveness, simply a thing. A thing that caused suffering to a warm, soft, wonderful woman. A thing that caused fear of a girl, young, me, a 13-year-old girl at the time who wanted to get by from the past memories that followed. Me, a kid that was unknowing of a thing like you, that represented that represented a shadowy resemblance of a person, let alone a man. Your screams were the only things in my dreams anymore, piercing into the only time I had to relax. In and out. Sometimes I couldn't even remember how to breathe. I know that no one should go through the feelings from someone, something like you, a shadow, a creature, a liar, who seems like the nicest thing in the world, someone who can be trusted, who can be talked to, someone trusts more than their own best friend, and a thing that can persuade years of knowing someone into dust. You are not a thing. You are not a person, you are not sick, and you are not trustable. You are a cacophony of all the nightmares, all the horrible things anyone could be, and more. You are a thing of nightmares. You are the dust you left families in, you left lives in, you left her in. You are nothing more than a memory now. One that is not often revisited, yet sometimes I could never remember. Remember the day I learned to grow up, the time I decided to know a person, know them in the way that they could not know themselves by a simple glance. Maybe that's why I never seem too interested, why I know nothing that sounds too good is real, why I never let anyone hurt the people that are close to me again, because I'll never let a thing like you back into my life.
Woo!
I gotta open my docs. Sorry, hang on. Here it is. All right. My other poem is called Sleep Tight, My Baby's Breath, and hopefully no alerts will go off on my phone. He's the type of boy who's most awake when he's tired. The 3 a.m. dreamer with ink stains that smell like copper, adorned by the poppy seeds intertwined in tangles cascading down his face, and roots intertwined in his rib cage weaving in and out spastically. He had seeds planted in his heart, growing like weeds in the rain, and a forest in his stomach. He had butterflies drenched in sweet nectar dripping down his throat. He's the boy with 2 extra spoons of sugar in the morning, because he could never get used to the honey running down. The sunflowers he'd smell every morning left pollen on his shirt collar and onto his ankles, and the sun that left him puppy-eyed searching for the unknown. The air is fresh. It always is around him, and it always was when he was around. You could smell the sweet aroma of baby's breath on each word when he was around her. Feel him slipping closer and closer to the edge just for a glimpse of his sunrise. He'd dream with eyes open, plucking the petals down until meadows grew empty, and he still couldn't decide what his feelings mean. His sunflower he admired from afar. He felt he could never live without, yet could never touch. Such is love, such is the puppy love that leaves you hanging on her every word. But his sun had cast its back on him, and now all he could feel were the countless petals running from his mouth. Such is love, such is heartbreak. He had fallen off the edge, through the sun, past roses, past vision, past mine, drowning in his hanahaki. Coughs turned to choking, and words spewed daffodils onto the ground. The vines wrapped around his ribs grew tighter, and the only sensation he can feel now were the dead butterflies sloshing in his stomach. Coughs of petals turned to violent spews, the baby's breath leaving his throat. Thorns scraping him from the inside, until dawn hit his closed eyelids in a bed of his own flowers. Honeydew dripping down closed lips onto a single white flower. He lost his breath. He lost his baby's breath.
Woo-hoo!